7 June 2021. Scroll.in article by Noah Smith titled Bangladesh is the New Asian Tiger. Countries in East Asia are able to ascend rapidly to developed country status using a more or less traditional approach of export-oriented manufacturing and climbing up the value chain. Examples are Japan, Korea, Taiwan, China. But when it comes to developing countries outside East Asia or the periphery of Europe, the discussions of their growth prospects suddenly turn gloomy. Top economists like Joe Stiglitz and Dani Rodrik expressed deep skepticism about the ability of countries outside East Asia to get rich using the traditional manufacturing-centric model. Stiglitz glumly encourages non-East Asian developing countries to find some entirely new and different path. The reason for pessimism is premature deindustrialization. And there's some concern that labor-intensive manufacturing will be automated away. But the reason is much simpler and more intuitive. We haven't seen many countries outside of Europe or East Asia industrialize yet, exceptions being Malaysia, Turkey and Israel. So it's not just a thing people expect to happen. Now all those skeptics should take a look at Bangladesh. The compact but populous South Asian country has quietly been powering ahead using a very traditional looking growth model. A Bloomberg article recently reported that Bangladesh has now surpassed both India and China in terms of GDP per capita. That's an astonishing milestone. In PPP, that is purchasing power parity, India is still ahead, but the gap is closing. India has outgrown Bangladesh overall since 1980, but its growth has been less even and looks to be hitting a serious slump in recent years. Pakistan is mostly stagnant, languishing in poverty. But Bangladesh has a smooth, even curve. How is Bangladesh managing this feat? Did it manage to create a new type of development model based on services, as Stiglitz recommends? Nope. In fact, it's doing the very same thing that Britain did when it became the first country to industrialize over 2 centuries ago, which is making and selling a bunch of clothes. Bangladesh has become known as a hub of the world's garment industry. Check out the tags on some recently bought clothes and see if they were made in Bangladesh. In terms of volume, China and the EU still dominate world garment exports, but Bangladesh comes in third, beating out Vietnam. And apparel absolutely dominates Bangladesh's own exports. We are world's top exports. Here is a list of top 10 things Bangladesh sells to the world. Knit or crochet clothing and accessories, clothing accessories not knit or crochet, footwear, miscellaneous textiles, worn clothing, paper yarn woven fabric, fish, leather animal gut articles, headgear, raw hides, skins not fur skins, plastics and other plastic articles. And who does Bangladesh sell clothes to? Rich countries, mostly in the West. This strategy didn't just happen. It was intentional. A 209-page report by Asian Development Bank includes some history of Bangladesh's industrial policy. And I will read a few experts from that. In the late 1980s, Bangladesh policy makers turned their attention to developing new industrial capacity and rehabilitating the economy. 5-year plans have guided development priorities with increasingly sophisticated design and implementation. This transformation through garment exports did not occur in a vacuum. The government decided very early on to promote the sector and to provide incentives to get it where it needed to be. Like in many countries, an important part of that strategy entailed designing SEZ, Special Economic Zones, areas in which regulations, incentives, and basic infrastructure could be provided to ensure the conditions for success. Moreover, effective taxation of earnings from RMG was very low, and income from RMG enterprises is exempt from taxes. In other words, Bangladesh picked a traditional labor-intensive light manufacturing industry. laid out plans for promoting that industry, and successfully built a dominant position in that industry. This is very different from how Britain's first industrial revolution worked, but the effect has been similar. It's a big victory for industrial policy. Note that Dani Roderick's prophecy of premature deindustrialization hasn't come true. Like other countries that went from poverty to wealth, Bangladesh has seen manufacturing increase its share of the economy as growth has accelerated. Bangladesh ignored dire warnings that labor intensive manufacturing was about to be automated away, and ignored the skepticism about whether a country outside Europe or East Asia could pull off manufacturing led industrialization, and simply powered ahead with a traditional development strategy, and damn it, it's working. Of course, that doesn't mean it will keep working forever. The ADB report warns that support for the garment industry have crowded out other industries that will be necessary for continued growth. Bangladesh needs to diversify into other light manufacturing industries like toys and furniture. And to really climb up the value chain, Bangladesh needs to start making electronics. This will require the country to build better infrastructure and to broaden its incentives and supports away from just the clothing center. But it's doable. The fact of the country's recent success can't be denied. Make no mistake, this is still a very poor country with a per capita GDP of only around $5,800, similar to that of Ghana or Honduras. It's going to be many decades yet before Bangladesh can reach developed country status, and it's sure to hit setbacks along the way. But it has already proven two crucially important facts about the modern world. Number one, the traditional strategy of export-led manufacturing-based development, starting with light industry, still works. And number two, countries outside of East Asia and the European periphery are capable of using this strategy. That's a huge deal. It should give a massive amount of hope to people and governments in other populous poor countries like Egypt, Tanzania, Ethiopia, and so on. The traditional model of development may not work forever, but for now, it looks like it's holding up. And for Indians, Bangladesh growth should remind us that globalization is still an incredibly powerful force for good. Access to European and US export markets has been crucial. We should remember not to throw a wrench into that progress by restricting trade and closing our markets. We should remember that far away from our bickering culture wars and policy debates, the lifting of the world's indigent masses to the safety and comfort of material plenty is still the biggest and most important story in the world.